Come in, Miss Tracy. I'm live streaming, but I don't know who else may show up. I think Ken had to go home. No, it's live stream. Anyway, Sarah gave me a report, folks, and the folks out there live streaming, please hear this. She had about 12 or 15 returns that passed review because we didn't check on the return for state copy only or paper copy only or what have you. So you need to check those that she thinks you should review. For some in progress, we need to finish. I read this, Savannah, going to try to help that professor finish his, or do you know anything yet? Yeah. And then there's rejects. Now, tomorrow will be the 11th of April. We got until the 17th this year, take care of all rejects. So they will give us Thursday and Friday, and be the 13th. Wednesday is the 11th. Thursday is the 12th, and Friday 13th. Saturday 14th. They'll be due on the 16th, on Monday. So we want them all cleared up by Friday of this week. All clear. We cannot have any rejects, any problems, any people fussing. We have to do them in the return. We can. We gotta have all three all cleared up. We looked up solid tomorrow night. So before we here tomorrow night, they're gonna live in 10 probably 5, Robert, Julio. That's 5. I know Jessica will show up. Michael, Brianna, Sarah. So we need everybody to get tomorrow night.
What if we won't be able to get 14 returns? Why?
How many do you have?
I think almost 30.
How many reviews have you done?
4.
I mean,
4 or 5.
well, all of Justice son because of that snow night. I'll give everybody like 5 extra for that snow night. But now, still though, you need 45. 40 is minimum I can pay for. Hey, 5 you have to have. So, well, if I give you 5, you have to have 35. Most everybody can get there. You can get there. One night, some reviews. You'll get there.
I've got 49 or 50 already.
I think so. And about 6.
If she has like,
You have that in Walker. How many do you all have? What? 25?
45.
Hopefully they're getting up there, right? Okay. Basically got her 5 and said, take this program and go. 10, that's right, got 10. Kevin, I don't know if we got 5 or 10 or something like that. Whatever he wanted. I was telling the class last period, Tracy, you was the only one that wasn't in that class. But I was out of town over the weekend and I got a call, on my answer machine, they said real strong, like this is the IRS. Your tax return is fraudulent. You are committing fraud and misconduct. Please call us back as soon as possible. And I tried to call it back that night. It just went straight and said, "Hey, she not available." So I called it back the next day. They did not answer. This is the IRS. And you don't usually get somebody, they transfer you, you transfer. IRS is more professional than what this organization was. And IRS, probably wrote you a letter notifying you to call in with this number, what hey. So I called back and somebody did answer. I don't know if he said what he wanted or not. I said, I got a call from this number. He started to go in, what is your name? So don't ever give your social security number to people like that. If it's IRS, they know your social. Anyway, he didn't change to say much. I just said, I'm 95 years old. I have to file a tax return for 25 years. What are you people up to? And he hung up on me. IRS was not hung up on me. But scams. And, you know, sad thing about it, that will scare some older people to death. Some of those old people we get in there, if they got a call like that, it scare them to death. And they'd gladly give them their routing number and check number for $1,000 to clear that up. So that's what's scary, that they take advantage of old people. All right, I've asked you to look at this corporation on some of the problems. So we must get into some of the problems on this corporation, chapter 2. I want you to, we got to get to sub S corporations. We won't get to do all I want to on corporations, but we'll get enough. I asked you to bring a corporate return today too, so we'll see how that goes in a minute. I want you to read chapter 3. It's good information about a person's service, and it also talks about calculating tax. I'm tongue-tied today. But anyway, so read chapter 3 and read it well. So now we're going to start looking at some problems, and we'll probably do some corporate problems in this chapter. Did I ask you all to look at specific problem for the day? Did I ask you to look at number 34? All right, we're going to look at number 34 first. And the 351 requirements, Al, Bob, and Carl are West Corporation, Farm West, and transfer the following. Al transferred to Pat, fair market value 25. He got 1,000 shares of common stock. Bob transferred cash. That's the best way. That's easy. And Carl transferred services. Now, I can tell you about the last two real quick. Cash, that's a clean transaction. You know the basis of your stock? They got cash. They know the basis of their cash. The next transaction is pretty clean too. Your services. Usually it's like a donation for your services. Now, they didn't pay you. You don't turn it in on a tax return. All right, so the questions, though. Is the exchange non-taxable under Section 351? The common stock has voting rights. The preferred stock does not. And Bob bought preferred stock with cash anyway. Okay? So a part of that problem is what I'm interested in, problem 34. So let's look at a possible solution. All right, I want you to look at the answer to 34. The exchange does not qualify as a non-taxable change under section 351 because Al and Bob do not control West Corporation. All right, Al and Bob do not control it. Now, Alan and Bob, well, Al and Carl has all the common. They have the voting power, 1,300 shares. But cash doesn't matter anyway. Al owns only 76.9%, while Bob owns 100% of the non-voting preferred. Al recognized a $25,000 gain on the transfer of a patent. His basis in the West stock is 25. So he didn't qualify because he didn't have control on that patent. But its basis was 0. He must have made it himself and got the patent. So he has a $25,000 gain, and he recognizes it, and he's taxed on it. Bob recognized no gain or loss because cash. I said that's the cleanest. His basis is 25, what he paid. Carl recognizes $7,500 gain of ordinary income. His basis in the stock is $7,500. Now, what happened to Carl here? He donated his services. Now, if he got nothing in return, like in church, if you donate your services, you can't count salary and you can't count triple donation. But here, he got something for his services. Way back when we were talking about income, one example I remember giving you, if you worked a day for a man, he owed you $100, but he didn't have it. He gave you a watch, the fair market value of $125. What do you count as wages on your tax return? The $100 he promised you, or the $125 fair market value of what he gave? You count $125. Fair market value is out of the given. So what's the fair market value of the stock that was given to this man? $7,500. That's his basis. He pays taxes on it. Okay. B part, how would your answer in part A change if Bob instead had received 200 shares of common stock and 200 shares of preferred? Now, Bob had received 200 common and 200 preferred. Let's see if I can sort that out. Then it would be non-taxable. The exchange now qualifies as that section 351 because Al and Bob together own 1,200 of 1,500 shares, which is 80%. Al and Bob. Al has 1,000 and Bob has 200. That's 1,200 out of 15. So Al recognizes no gain or loss. His basis in West stock is 0 because he had 0 in the patent. If he turns around tomorrow and sells his West stock, he'll have a gain, whatever he sells it for. Bob recognized no gain or loss. The basis of his West stock is 25. Carl recognizes 7,500 of ordinary income, and his basis in stock is 75. So this last part, same answer. And C part, whatever that question might be, how would your answer change if Carl instead had contributed 800 of cash as well as services worth 6,700? It would qualify under section 31, assuming the 800 cash is acceptable because it meets the 10% property minimum for advanced ruling purposes. Al and Bob would recognize no gain. Carl would recognize 67 for his services. The consequences to West are the same as in Part B, except the cash contributed by Carl takes 800 basis and his services 6,700 of taxable income. You know he's not going to pay tax on cash he gives them. So that's a little bit about section 351. Now look at number 43. Liabilities in excess of bases. Barbara transfers to Moore Corporation 10,000 cash and machine having 15 bases and a 35,000 fair market value in exchange for 50 shares of Moore stock. Machine was used in her business. It had cost her 50,000. It had 25,000, I guess, liability, or 28, which Moore assumed. Sam exchanges 17,000 cash for the remaining 50 shares. All right, let's try to sort that one out. Number 43. Remember, if somebody assumes your liability, it's the same as giving you cash. If they assume your liability, all right, that's the same as giving you cash. If you assume their liability, that's the same as you giving them. I hope I got that straight. All right. All right, let's look at number 43A. Stock received 17,000. Lease from liability 28. So you got $45,000 out of that property. All right, machinery, basis of machinery, basis was 15, and money you gave 25. So you have a realized gain of 20. Realized. But how much do you recognize? Basis of all property received was 25. Same as right here. So the realized amount would be $3,000 recognized. You pay taxes on $3,000, but you had a $20,000 gain. Giorgio, do you see A part? Does that make sense to you?
Part A.
Yeah, part A makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's look at part B. What is Barbara's basis in the Moore stock? All right.
Could you please repeat part A again?
Part A.
Yes.
All right, now first off, looking at the problem, Giorgio, and the question, what are the amounts and character of Barbara's recognized gain or loss? If you read the problem, she gives the corporation 10,000 money. She gives a machinery with a 15,000 basis. The money and the machinery she gives is 25,000.
Yes.
Right? That's what she gives. All right, but let's see what she gives. Now, also, are they assuming her liability? Who assumes whose liability? So we're going to look at that. All right, and a 35,000 fair market value. Let's see, having a 15,000 base in exchange for 50 shares of stock. The machinery was used in the business. Its base was 15. It had cost her 50.
I think they assumed their liability. 28,000.
And it's subject to a $28,000 liability, which Moore assumes. Okay, Moore assumed the liability. So we got stock. Liability, same as cash. We got 45. You see that, right?
Yes.
We got 45 from the corporation. Here's what we gave the corporation. So we have a gain of 20. Now that part's easy to see. But now if you look at the liability that they assumed and the basis of property transfer, you only really have a $3,000 taxable gain.
Who, us?
Huh?
The company or us?
See, assuming a liability is not like a gain. They're just paying cash for it. At this big cash, this was $45,000. All right? And that been all cash, this would have been 25, you had 20,000 recognized and 20,000 realized. All right, but here, we just take her basis from the note and she's only taxed on 3.
Barbara.
Recognized 3, that's, yeah, is that Barbara?
Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara. Okay, but now if we go down and look at B part, what is Barbara's basis in the stock? Okay. So okay. Well, anyhow, folks, I never thought I'd be plotting and planning with Dr. Burko. We're plotting, okay? Plotting. Up to no good, mischievous, yeah, you know. Okay, now back to B part. 0 basis, property transfer was 25, boot received was 28. She was taxed on 3, and she has basis in the stock of 0. When she sells that stock, then she'll pay a gain on all these liabilities and everything else they assist. The what?
She has 0 in the stock.
0 basis,
Why?
because she transferred property worth 25.
But she received the boot of
But,
28.
all right, they
That was a liability.
they assumed her liability, that's the same as cash.
Okay.
Now let's back up and pretend this is cash. All right, she transferred property worth 25.
Okay.
They gave her, let's say, 28 cash. So she was taxed on 3.
Yeah.
All right, now that makes sense up to that point, but the basis in her stock is 0 because they assumed 25 more thousand liability. This was, all right, let's look at it another way. They not only, they gave her 28,000 and her property was only worth 25. Okay, well, how much?
Okay, what if the property fair market value was 30,000? Would that have been the basis? Would it been 2,000?
What did she get? What did she get? How much stock did she get?
17,000 of fair market value.
She got 17,000 shares? All right, but since she only paid 25 and they paid her liability 28, she has 0 in that stock.
Because
They paid her more than
more.
what?
Okay.
They paid her more than what she gave them.
What if
They paid her 28.
Okay, what if the barber had paid more, like 30,000 instead of 25?
All right, and she paid 30.
Yeah. 28.
All right, and received boot.
That will be 2,000 loss.
That'd be a $2,000. Yeah, but let me see how we categorize that. She paid 30. They assumed her liability. No, she would have a basis of more basis in the stock. She paid 30. They assumed 28 liability. She'd have 2,000 basis in the stock. Would make this 30, 28, ignore that, and she'd have 2,000 bases in the stock. All right, C part. What is Moore's basis in the machinery? What is the corporation's basis in the machinery? They paid her liability of 18, and that's what its basis ought to be, okay? They paid her liability of 18. That's what their basis is. So that's pretty easy to see, I hope. And D part, what is the amount and character of Sam's recognized gain or loss? Well, what did Sam give him? What did Sam give the corporation?
25,000 property.
And
17,000 cash.
cash. And what did Sam get? He got shares, right?
That's the same thing she got was shares. Probably got the same.
Right. But he has no gain or loss. He just gave money and bought stocks. So you go out and buy stock anytime you want to today. You don't have a gain or loss. Okay? If you do cash, if you start transferring property, then you got a different situation. Okay? All right, D part. Sam recognized no gain or loss. Now, the amount of money he paid more for the stock is his basis of 17,000. My exchange pens, and I got one that won't write at all, man. Okay. Okay, going on with this problem. When do Barbara and Sam's holding periods for their stock begin? Whenever she bought the machinery, that's when her holding period starts. Sam starts on the day after the exchange. So your holding period, if you buy stock today, your holding period starts tomorrow. Okay? One day, tomorrow will be one day. Now, G part, section 351 would not apply, so the answers would change as follows. Now, if section 351 did not apply, how would your answer to parts A through F change if Sam received 17,000 of stock for legal services instead of cash? It would not apply. Then A part, Barbara would have had 20,000 ordinary income. B part, 17,000 would be Barbara's base in the stock. 3 plus 17 was the 20. And C part, 35,000. Moore's base in machine will be 35. It's fair market value. All right. So you can see this section 351 gets a little raunchy there, I suppose. Now let's go back to problems on page 36. Now I want you all to look at 29. And I want you all to try to answer one question apiece. Tracy, try to answer A, Kate, Bela, C, Eric, D, Olivia, and E, Kevin. See if you all can answer those questions on problem 29. I'll give you, huh?
Kevin isn't here.
I meant Georgia. I didn't look up. I meant Georgia. Take a minute. Okay, number 29, folks. Tracy, what'd you come up with for A part?
No gain or loss. Non-cash broker.
All right. Kayla, how about B?
Was
What is Dick's basis and his Trenton shares? When does his holding period begin? What'd you have?
60,000.
I can't get just that part. Okay, non-Dick does not recognize a loss. You said 60,000 and the holding period deemed to begin 3 years ago when he purchased the land. Okay, Olivia, what was your answer? C part, what is the amount of Evans recognized gain or loss? Robert, that's Eric. Nothing? Okay, then Olivia, what is Evans' basis in his Trenton shares of stock? When does his holding period begin?
It's a 5,000 basis and the holding period is 1,000.
All right. So Eric said none. He does not recognize his $15,000 realized loss. All right. Olivia said 45,000 base in Trenton share. Evans' holding period deems to begin when?
The holding period,
Yeah.
2001.
All right. And then Giorgio, you had E part. How much income, if any, does Fran recognize? Do you have an answer? All right. Fran recognizes 20,000 of ordinary income. Where'd that come from? Did she give services for stock? All right, then that's ordinary income. Okay, now these next two answers, I haven't read them. She recognizes 20,000 ordinary income. She has 20,000 base in stock. That's the same as them giving her $20,000 in wages, her turn around and giving her 20,000 back for stock. Same difference. Her holding period starts the day she buys it. All right. It's one day after, really. Now, Trent takes a 50,000 bases in land and a 30,000 bases in machinery. And they come from up here, so forth. So it's more complicated. If you buy stock with cash, it keeps it simple. You start donating land and machinery and buildings, it complicates it. Then you gotta know if you and whoever has control of it, the 80% control. Then you wouldn't have to recognize gain or loss. If you don't have 80% control, you may have to recognize gain or loss. So that's what 351 is about. If you qualify, you don't pay taxes on gains and losses. I'm going to do one more, the same way we did this one. We're going to look at number 30. All right. Tracy, you're going to do AB. Kayla, C. Olivia, D-E. Eric, F. And Giorgio, G and H. Oh, you need a book. Borrow mine a minute. What did I say? G and H on number 30. Oh, many people. That's too hard. That's just solid four. But Renzo had 3.97. He said you got to be. He took international business. Yes, first semester here. You got to be. Shouldn't have taken that till he was a senior. Okay, take a couple more minutes. Some of you had tougher ones than others. Okay, Tracy, what did you answer for 30A part?
For A, it had no gain or loss.
No gain or loss. How about B?
$35,000 gain the day in the towing period the day after.
All right. Did you say no gain or loss for A part? All right. The section 351 requirements have not been met because 30% of the stock is issued for services. See, they get real picky about that. Had the stock been bought for money,
It's $20,000.
so Ed recognizes 20,000, that's 35 minus 15 of capital gain. So he just has a capital gain of 20. But now 35,000 bases in jet shares received because he gave up $35 plus 15. What did he give up? What did Ed give up, Tracy, at part A?
Land.
Land is basis of how much?
50.
$35,000 basis.
Oh, that was the fair market value.
That's for market value. I thought land was 15 basis.
Basis land.
Contributes land having $35,000 fair market value, purchased as an investment 4 years ago for $15,000.
All right. So 15,000. What did they give him?
35 shares of stock.
35 shares? All right. He was paying 1,000 a share then, more or less. So he's getting $35,000 worth of stock. He's only giving up 15. He pays taxes on 20 gain. Okay. Now, what basis does he have? If he gave up, his land had 15 and he pays taxes on 20, then his basis is 35. And he gave up 15, he paid taxes on 20, his basis is 35. Okay, Kayla, how about C? All right, did you have C and D or just C? All right. She recognizes a $10,000 loss. Okay, D and E, Olivia.
E is a 35,000 basis and it is the day after the exchange.
Okay, that was D, how about E?
E is only gonna recognize 20,000.
Okay, what that one must have been, what is his holding period on the 35,000 that Tracy had when he bought it? So naturally it is 35. His holding period starts one day after.
No.
35 bases, as Olivia said. Wait a minute, E. Okay, his holding period is one day after. E, did you have 30,000 ordinary income? Who had E? Eric, did you have 30,000 ordinary income? Okay. Giorgio, you had what?
G&H.
All right. Okay, now, Eric, did you have 30,000 bases? His holding period starts. Naturally, if you have 30,000 income, you're going to have bases and your holding period starts a day later. Yeah. Giorgio, you had G&H. What do you got?
Basis is 70,000.
The what?
Basis is the 70,000.
All right. Jet Corporation takes $35,000 basis.
Yeah.
That's for market value of the property. And the land and 35 bases in the machinery. That does give you 70, don't it? Okay? The holding period for each asset starts the day after the exchange. That's tomorrow. And H, because section 351 requirements would now have been met, the answers change. 20,000 gain changes to no gain. 35,000 basis changes to 15,000 basis. But you pay taxes on 20. And C, she recognizes no loss. So you see how that changes? And how it changes? 35,000 basis up to 45,000 basis. F, still 30,000 basis for the services. G, is basis is 15 and 35. Here it was 35, 35. And H,
H is like, what would the answers be if George, for his services, contributed 5,000 straight cash and the services of?
yeah, well, that is H, yeah, okay. All right. We covered it. Now, I wanted you to bring, did you bring 1120 with you? Bring 1120, Caleb? Well, they did, they made you a copy. So Joe, you got one? Okay. Now, what we're gonna try to do, we're gonna start putting a tax club on it. 1120, which I think is more important by putting this tax club on there. We'll on to that in a minute. I'm gonna walk you through one step a step. I don't know which one I want to do this with. Got 2, 3 examples, and I can't decide on which one, so. Okay, here's what we're gonna be working on. I'm gonna let you start on it today. Chapter 3. I know we haven't looked at it. This is where you are starting to do a tax return and calculate. Once you look at page 3-65. All right, I want you to look at problem 66. Here's your estimated tax payments. They've got where they're located. All right, so we have a balance sheet. They have income, says taxable income was 1.6 million. All right, I want you to put that on the front, just down on taxable income.
Wait, what?
What line is taxable income on the front of 1120? 30. We're gonna start right there with 1.6 million, 1,600,000. Well, wait a minute, that was 2015, I'm sorry. It was trying to find the 2016. No, you're doing 2016. No, take that off of that return. I'm sorry. You have cost of goods sold, you have compensation of officers, you have bad debts. I guess you have the income statement on page 67. So go to page 67 in your tax book and start putting these things on the front of that form. I want you to see where everything goes. So start putting everything you can on the front of that form. That'll get you familiar with this form. You folks out there viewing, there will be 5 of you, Tandon, Alex, and Kevin, and Savannah. And who's the other one? Anyway, please do this problem that I mentioned, try to put it on the form. Hello? Yes, sir. Finding all the places, Tracy. Yeah, appreciation. Read, when you take a look, appreciation, which you may have, I don't know what it says about finding MACRS appreciation. This is book income, your tax rate, might be a little different. Please look for your appreciation differences or contributions and all that stuff.
Straight line appreciation.
They use straight line for books, so then they
For
can use.
tax purposes.
Yeah, MACRS for tax. So don't take it for granted that everything you see on the blue income statement goes on the quiet labor 20. Okay, I'm gonna start broadcasting. You folks out there, please do the same thing class is doing.